This 110 came back last night on a tow truck. The owner yesterday was saying that there was red fluid dripping on the floor and the vehicle was making a lot of noise. Naturally it's not doing it for me now, but I did start to do this presentation this morning and it got a little bit too long because things were chopping and changing as I was trying to work out the problems, because we've got is it 3 or 4 problems? I think we've got 3 problems. We've got power steering fluid leaking, we've got oil leaking from somewhere but no visible signs. He's having to keep topping up the oil, and also there's a coolant leak. Now this is a mystery, so I was chop changing and flip flopping about. Oh, and the AC's leaking as well, so there we go, yeah, 4. So we always sort of do the easiest ones first, because then it's downhill after that, or uphill. So what I did was I took this truck for a drive, and I might try and put some inserts in what I did and what I found out, but maybe not, we'll see how it goes. Keep it short. Took it for a drive, got it warmed up nicely, and then I put my pressure tester on, and I filled up the reservoir full of coolant. I fill it right to the very top so there's not so much air in there to be like a big shock absorber. So it's got 15 pounds of pressure in, and it was leaking a little bit, and it was leaking from one of the radiator hoses that joins, it's the return from the heater. And I found that just purely by accident, because I just saw a tiny drip of coolant, which is green. So I put a little bit of paper towel under what I thought was the clip, and sure enough the clip was gone. Now the hoses are getting a little bit old, so what I intend to do is take the bloody things off and put some nice silicone hoses on, because they seem to last forever. They're really nice. So I'm going to put a set of those on. I haven't got any, so they'll have to come next week. And again, since I clamped up the hose, this has been about an hour and a half. It was on 15 psi and it's never moved, so that's good. But why was it using so much Presto? I don't know. That's still a mystery to me. The second thing, air conditioning. I put the gauges on, which are, you know, our little friendly set of gauges here, and I filled it full of compressed air. I know you're not supposed to put compressed air in, don't worry about that, I know all about that, but I've got to find out where it's leaking from. The strangest thing is, when I put the gauges on and filled it up to 100 psi, no leaks. But the air conditioning had no gas in it when I first started. That was odd. Anyway, I came to the conclusion that the little Schrader valves, which are the same as your tyre valve, must have been leaking. So that's probably one of the most cheapest repairs there's ever done on this car. But obviously it's Sunday afternoon now, and we can't get any. We've just been down to the local shop and get tyre valves, but you can't get these. So I'm going to get the proper things tomorrow. So I think that'll fix that, and then I can charge it up with gas, and that job is done. Next job, power steering pump. Now, I'm not looking forward to taking that off. Usually they're only about an half an hour job to do. Really quick, you know. But this has got a bull bar on it, and you're like another, what, 10 inches, 11 inches away from where you want to be. So you're leaning all over like this, and it's really a bugger. But it's such a big job to take the bull bar off that it's not worth it. So bull bars, I don't like them. I'll never have one. So I'm going to take off the pump. Now, am I going to repair it, or am I going to put a new one on? I think I'll put a new one on. Why? Because I can't keep my eye on it, if you see what I mean. If it was for my own use, I'd just put a gasket on and away we go. but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure as yet. So one of the things I wanted to say in a video I did do about a 300 TDI pump and resealing it was that actually worked very, very well, and we used it on the 130 camper, and that was beautiful. It went very nice. However, I've got no gaskets, so by the time it takes me to get a gasket, well, I'll just put another pump on, and then that's another job done. So I think I'll get on to doing this 300 TDI power steering pump now, and I might do a video, bits and pieces that you should know, and how I do them. It's pretty straightforward, really. Sometimes it seems to be a waste of time doing some videos, but you never know, there might be something that you don't know. So it's a beautiful sunny day, so I'm not going to put it in the shop, and principally because I've been doing some touch-up painting, so I don't want to get dust everywhere. And yeah, no, we'll make the most of this sunny weather. Might even get a tan, you never know. So the first thing we're going to do, and this is another reason why I don't like cars with AC on, they're a bloody nightmare. Got to get the fan off. Now, if I think right, I couldn't get this fan off before because I think somebody put Loctite on it. That is going to be fun. I don't know how we're going to get that off. I might end up making a special tool to get the fan off. I've already got the spanner, but you need something to hold the pump whilst you take it, not the pump but the pulley, whilst you're taking the fan off. I think I'm going to have to make one. In fact, I know I'm going to have to make one, so that's my job, that's my first job. Alright, let's see how it goes. I've got to take the viscous fan off this pulley on a 300 TDI. Some joker has put Loctite on here, or they've nipped it up so tight I just can't get it off. It's really hard to get off. So what I'm going to do is something I've been meaning to do for a long time, is I'm going to make a tool to go over these studs like this to lock it into place. And I saw that it was a genuine Land Rover tool, but I wasn't going to pay 30 or 40 pound for one. So what I'm first going to do, I'm going to try and measure the distance into there, and that is 45.8 millimeters. So we'll remember that. So we want 45.8. Now if you want to clip that into inches, it's 1.8 inches. So it's just over 1 3/4 inches. So I've got some steel. Let's go and see if we can make this. I'm going to do this video to make this tool in inches because all the materials I've got is in inches, and converting it backwards and forwards is quite easy to make a mistake. What I've got here is a piece of 1/4 inch flat bar, and it is 4 inch, so it's 4 inch by 1/4. Now this is just a piece I had kicking around, and it's about, well, it's just a shade under 1 foot long. What I want to make, I'm going to do a rough drawing for you guys on this side. So it's going to be a cutout, sort of like that. So that slips over the bolts, and maybe do something fancy like a handle like that, you know, shape it in a bit, and then using a bit of old pipe I'm going to cut a slot in the pipe, you know, like a sort of a slot, and then weld that over the top. Yeah, weld that over the top, and that, what that does is it moves it away out of the fan, if you see what I mean, and we've got bags of leverage on there to hold it tight. So cross fingers and let's see how that goes. What I'll probably do to cut this parallel piece, I'll cut it with a disc cutter, but to cut this piece out here I think I'll just use the plasma, and the same for the shaping, I'll use a plasma. So there you have it, 10 minutes. Looks alright. Fits beautifully. Might be a bit long, but I can always cut it down. But let's go and have a go and see if it works. And if it does work, well, we'll paint it. Yeah, things you have to do, eh? So, did it work? Well, I've got paint on it. And look, I got the fan off. Some monster had either tried fastening it up or tightening it off with a great big punch, and it was a bit rusty inside. I thought it was Loctite, but by God, it was tight to get off. Couldn't use my regular snap-on spanner because that's got so worn out now it's started to thin down. So I have a 32mm spanner, and I had to shave it down. You can see it's a little bit different one side to the other, and that went in nice and snug. And the action of this against the fan here, it pushed this into place. So all you had to do is give it a tap with a hammer, and away it came. Wish I'd made one years ago. Who'd have thought it? Getting the pump off now is really easy. This is why we had to take the fan off, because we couldn't work to get the pulley off. The pulley was tight. You can see where it was rusted on here. So the next thing you're going to do, it's hard to see, there's some bolts holding the bracket on. There's 1, 2, 3 and there's 4 up here. We slack those off, but first of all you get a 5/8 AF spanner and undo this nut here. That's the pressure pipe, because we're not going to take off the return pipe until we get the pump off, because some joker has put the hose clip on the wrong way around. So that means crawling under the truck. So we're going to take the pump off and then take the clip off. Should make life easier. So after a bit of a struggle I got the pump off. Yeah, it's a jobber one, I think. There's no markings on it, but it's definitely not the same as the regular standard 300 TDI one, although the fittings would be the same. It looks like it's been leaking out of here and dripping down, so I think it's time for a change. I'm not even going to put it on the test bed because it will have oil everywhere and I'm not going to find anything else out. So new pump. Also at the same time I'm going to replace the hoses on there because they were really nasty to get off. I'm going to and also the one that goes in here, which has got like the 5/8 flats on for the high pressure side, I'm going to replace that hose too. And it's not because I've been the purpose of replacing everything, but I think it's been on and off that many times. The steel tube nut that goes on here has actually flattened down, you know, been over tightened over the years, and it's a bugger to get on and off because it's the nut now is like flattened and it's nipping on the pipe. So when you're trying to tighten it up, the flats on one side are narrower than the other, so it's like 5/8 on this side and then maybe, I don't know, a little bit smaller on the other side, so the spanner slips around. Right mess about. Anyway, at least we know what it is. The tool there works great. I forgot to mention I had to cut it down a little bit. 2 reasons. Reason 1, it kept hitting the bonnet because it was that long, and reason 2 is I couldn't get my toolbox. So, but it works perfectly like that. I'm very pleased. Should have made one years ago. Got the fan off. Yeah, brilliant little piece of kit. I often wondered why I never made one, but you know, 10 minutes, it's done. Alright, so I hope you saw that. We'll put another pump on, and then we'll jump back on this job again.